Hello friends, in today's video we are going to learn about reflection problems in non-verbal reasoning section of 11 plus exam. So the reflection problem in non-verbal reasoning section requires identifying how a shape or a button looks like when it is reflected across a specific axis. The axis could be vertical, horizontal or diagonal, and the task is to typically identify the shape which shows a correct reflection from the set of options given. If you have yet not subscribed to our channel, I would request you to do so, and if you like our content, please like our videos. So let's get started. So what are the common types of reflection problems are? So generally we do see vertical related reflections wherein a shape is flipped over a vertical axis. Horizontal reflection where a shape is flipped over a horizontal axis. A diagonal reflection where the shape is reflected diagonally across a 45-degree line. And a complex reflection wherein shape that includes a mix of elements, patterns or subshapes which is reflected all together. So what are the key points to keep in mind while solving the reflection related problem? So the first point to remember is identify the axis of reflection. So we need to figure out whether this is a vertical, horizontal or diagonal reflection. Then we need to observe specific features. So we need to pay attention to corners, if there are angles, curves or any symmetry shapes are there. We also need to pay attention to orientation. So the orientation will change for arrows, symbols and nodes. It has been observed that there are common mistakes kids do is they do not reflect entire shape. They just check and select the option which is having a parts of it reflected. So we need to make sure that we select a image which is having an entire shape as reflected. And to ensure the entire shape is reflected and just not parts of it, keep doing the practice of this kind of question and you can master the reflection problem. So as we discuss these points, what are the strategy to solve a reflection problem? So the very first point is locate the mirror line to identify whether it's a vertical, horizontal or diagonal reflection. In your mind, mentally flip the shape. So visualize the shape as it is flipped or mirror across that particular line in your mind and then see that shape in given options. Compare with the different answer choices. So eliminate the option which clearly doesn't fit the expected reflection pattern, which will easy the problem. And check for details. So ensure we have the right orientation, angles and specific features for a different parts given into the shape which match the correct reflection. So now let's get started with some of the examples in this category. So if we see the very first question, there is a arrow with three crossing lines and a diamond at back. It is getting reflected diagonally. So if we see when it is getting reflected diagonally, it should come towards first 90 between 90 to 0 degree. Somewhere it is 135 degree inclined. Now it should come somewhere 45 degree angle. So if we see in this case, answer A, answer C and answer E are near to that. So the answer B and answer D are completely incorrect. And then from there if we see in answer C, we do have a diamond shape which is not a great ones. and in answer E we do have only 2 lines. So if we go by that way, answer A looks correct. So the answer A would be right answer, and answer B is completely incorrect, answer D is completely incorrect, and answer C and answer E are having the missing parts. So let's look into the next example. So in the next example, if we see, there are arrow. In this arrow we do not have the pointing nodes, and this arrow is a complete band structure. So if we reflect that, obviously the A cannot be the answer. However, if we see answer B, it looks near to the solution. So if we reflect that particular image, these corner side of the or the last part of the arrow is going to reflect like this, and the arrow will reflect in a clockwise direction. However, it is here in an anti-clockwise direction. So the answer B looks correct. Answer C is not correct because it is having an arrow with front, but here our image was having an arrow with a back. So answer C is not correct. Answer D is also not correct. It's completely a wrong image, and answer E is also not correct. Now let's check another question. So in this question, if we see, there is arrow which is pointing towards left hand side, and there is a star on top, and there is another square and a dark circle in it. So if we are going to reflect it, it is going to represent or show the direction in the right hand side. So obviously answer B and answer D can be only correct options, and A, C and E are not the right answer. So now let's check in answer B and answer D what is the right one. So if we see answer B, it looks correct answer because when it is getting reflected, it will point towards the right hand side and the star will still come on top of it. However, if we see the option D, the star is a bottom of arrow, which is incorrect. So the right answer should be answer B. Now let's quickly check the next example. So in this case, if we see, there is a star and in bottom there is an arrow which is pointing towards right hand side, and there is a small star on top. So when this is getting flipped over, it is not going to be answer A because that's a completely wrong direction of flipping over. Answer B looks correct. Why? Because now the arrow is pointing towards left hand side and there is a small star on top of this big star that will come into the left hand side rather than right hand side here because it's getting mirror imaged. Answer C is not correct, answer D is completely incorrect, and answer E is not completely flipped over. So if you see these portion, the arrow is flipped, bigger star is flipped but not the smaller star. So answer E is also not correct. So the answer should be option B only. Let's look into the few more examples. So if we see in this particular example, there is a triangle, there is an additional line, and then there is a triangle, small triangle, there is a star, and there is a flipped triangle in a dark shape. So if we see how this is going to get flipped over, so obviously when we are flipping it in a horizontal line, it is not going to change its pointing direction. So answer A is incorrect in this case. If we see answer B, answer B looks correct. Why? Because we do have this line which is now flipped over. We do have a triangle which is remain as it is when it is getting flipped, and then we do have a star. We do have a small triangle which is pointing downwards in a black color, and Then we do have one triangle in top. So answer B looks correct. Let's check it. Answer C is completely incorrect. Answer D, if we see here, if we notice, the smaller triangle shapes are flipped to the vertical line, which cannot be possible. So the answer D is also incorrect, and answer E is, if we see here, also is the similar situation, and plus there is a error into the star and a small black triangular shape position. So answer E cannot be the right answer. Now check another example. So in this one, if we see, there is a square shape and we do have arrows pointing. So if we flip it over, obviously these arrow are not going to point in this direction, the top arrow. So option A is not a correct one. If we check the option B, if we see, that is also not possible. Why? Because this particular arrow in a right hand side, it is not going to change vertically. So answer B is, or option B is also not correct. Then we do have option C, which looks correct. Why? Because these arrow are going to, the top and bottom arrow are going to change its direction, which is happening, and the side arrows are not going to change its direction, so that's also correct. Plus there is a shape alignment as well. So option C is a right answer. And then if we look D1, it is not correct. Why? Because the side arrows are not in a right direction, so it's changing its direction, this particular arrow, which is not correct. And obviously the option D is not correct, because the top and bottom arrow has to change its direction, which is not happening here. So the right answer is option C. That's all in today's video. Thanks for watching.